Hello, friends. Pay attention to this story because it has valuable lessons for life. Once in a town, there was a prosperous businessman who found success in every city he visited. He never experienced failure and had a thriving business. His father shared 4 important principles, and by following them, he led a happy life. Remember, these lessons can guide you too. As time passed, the wealthy man found success in every aspect of life. Now, in his old age, sensing his imminent death, he realized his son was innocent and lacked understanding of the world. Calling his son, he shared, "Son, I learned 4 valuable things from my father and applied them in my life. Following these principles has led to my success. I live a happy life because of these principles. I'm healthy, wealthy, and content. I've never faced illness or financial shortages. Despite being the richest in the city, I'm satisfied. But I wish for you to surpass me, gaining more fame and wealth. Your time is different. Aim for greater recognition and success." The wealthy man continued, "Your future is unique. Come closer, son. Today I'll share 4 important lessons my father taught me. These have made me successful. If you learn and adopt them, you too can lead a wealthy and happy life. These principles will keep sorrow away from your family and ensure success in your business. There will be no sorrow, nor will there ever be any problem in your business." Saying this, the rich man starts telling 4 things to his son. He says, "Son, the first thing is to go to work in the shade and come in the shade. The second thing is to keep leather arrows around your house. And the third thing, always eat food sweetened. And fourthly, always keep your wife tied." Father asked, "Son, implement all these 4 things in your life and will also follow them." The rich man, feeling relieved, trusted his innocent son to follow these instructions faithfully. As time went by, a few months elapsed, and on one fateful day, the wealthy man passed away. In the wake of his father's demise, the rich man's son decided to preserve his father's wisdom. He meticulously documented all 4 pieces of advice on paper, determined to carry on his father's legacy. To honor his father's teachings, the son earnestly began integrating these principles into his own life. The first thing his father told him was to go to the shade and come back to the shade. With his abundance of wealth, the son took a unique approach. He had a tent erected along the entire path from his home to his shop. This extravagant measure ensured that he was constantly in the shade, as per his father's guidance. Undeterred by others, the wealthy man's son continued to carry out his father's instructions without any hesitation. Whenever someone questioned his actions, he simply explained that he was fulfilling his father's wishes. Following the next piece of advice, he directed his household to build a wall made of leather on one side. This peculiar choice angered the people in the vicinity. They confronted him, expressing their discontent. Many argued, questioning why he had erected a wall of leather, emphasizing the unpleasant smell associated with it. The son's actions caused distress among the people, leading them to consider removing the leather wall. However, their attempts were futile because the wealthy man's son possessed considerable wealth, making him immune to opposition. Undeterred by the discontent around him, he remained determined to wholeheartedly follow his father's instructions. Moving on to the third piece of advice, which was to sweeten his food, he embraced this guidance with zeal. Every day he requested his wife to prepare something sweet for him, whether it be saffron-flavored treats, halwa, or various types of sweets. He made sure to include sweetness in his daily meals. Continuing to adhere to his father's advice, the son diligently followed the 4th instruction to always keep his wife tied. Consequently, every day he would physically restrain his wife with a rope. As time went by, the consequences of his misinterpretation began to unfold, leading to a gradual decline in the son's life. His once thriving business began to stagnate, and the number of customers dwindled. His erratic work schedule, as he only went to the shop when he pleased, contributed to the decline in his business fortunes. The unintended consequences of misinterpreting his father's wisdom were taking a toll on the son's life. The son continued his erratic routine, returning home from the shop whenever he pleased. His lack of interest in his father's business became apparent, and this indifference angered his customers. Gradually, one by one, all his customers started abandoning the shop, leading to a significant decline in his once thriving business. Within a few months, the business that his father had painstakingly built was entirely ruined. The consequences of his misinterpretation and neglect had taken a severe toll, causing a substantial reduction in his business and leaving the once prosperous establishment in a state of decline. The son found himself in great distress as the consequences of his actions unfolded. The leather walls surrounding his house emitted a foul smell, causing discomfort to those nearby. The unpleasant odor led to his neighbors abandoning their homes and relocating elsewhere. The pervasive smell of leather made his house uninviting, even to friends and relatives who began avoiding visits. Despite the adverse effects, the son remained perplexed, unable to comprehend the reasons behind these troubles, and a deep sense of sadness enveloped him. His love for sweet treats resulted in him gaining a lot of weight, inviting various illnesses into his body. Doctors had to visit his house every day, causing his money to be spent on medical bills. The decision to keep his wife tied, as per his father's advice, led to her anger, and eventually she left their home and went back to her mother's house. Despite his attempts to reconcile with his wife, she remained adamant and refused to return. Why would any woman want to live with a man who keeps her tied down for no reason? Seth's son had a tough time. He lost everything, no job, no money, and his wife left. Even the relatives who used to ask him for money were gone. Now he wasn't healthy and felt very worried. He couldn't understand why everything was going wrong in his life. He felt really upset about everything and silently cursed his father. In his thoughts he said, "Father, you've ruined my whole life. Because of your actions, I've lost everything. I don't have a business or wealth anymore. I've lost my relatives, my wife, and even my health. You've destroyed my entire life." He thought, if I hadn't followed those 4 things you told me, if I hadn't made them a part of my life, I would be living happily today. What did I gain by obeying these 4 things of yours? I followed your words like a good son, believed in them, and followed them faithfully. Realizing he was foolish, he cried bitterly, regretting blindly believing in those things. One day, he learned about a saint in his nearby town, known for solving everyone's problems. Hopeful, he decided to meet the saint, thinking maybe he could find a solution to his issues too. He went to the saint, fell at his feet and cried out, "O Guru, only you can save me now. My father has destroyed my whole life. The situation I'm in today is all because of him. I always followed my father's advice. Like a good son, I obeyed all his words, fulfilled my duties, and saw what he did to me. Even after his death, his teachings led me astray, and now I have to suffer the consequences. I followed him, implemented his words in my life, and look at what happened. My entire life got ruined." He couldn't understand why his father treated him this way. He wondered if he had done something wrong. Saying this, he cried even louder in front of the saint. The saint then told Seth's son to calm down and share his story. He asked, "What happened to you? Why are you crying? What's the reason for your problem?" The son handed the saint the slip he wrote after his father's death, where he listed all 4 things about his father. The sage took the book, started reading, and burst into laughter. He told Seth's son, "You're a big fool. Your father shared all the wisdom of the world with you, but you failed to grasp it. You couldn't follow it correctly, and yet you claim your father led you astray, giving the wrong message. Your father was merely testing you. But he wished for you to figure out the meaning on your own, to understand these things for yourself. Unfortunately, it seems your understanding has become completely confused. I've never seen a bigger fool than you. Having such vast knowledge of the world is good. How could you make such a big mistake? You lack understanding and knowledge. If you had grasped the real meaning, you could have been happy and successful in your life, just like your father. Your life could have been happy, but you misunderstood your father's words. You didn't think about the meaning of those things. Instead, you followed his instructions without understanding. If you didn't know the meaning, you could have sought guidance from a knowledgeable person. However, the meaning you understood is not the same as your father intended. The son of the rich merchant asked the guru if he was misunderstanding his father's words. The guru smiled and said, "Son, there is a deep meaning behind these written things. Your lack of understanding led to this foolishness, and it ruined your entire life. But it's not too late. You still have time. If you work hard from now on, you can regain happiness and prosperity in your life." The sage's son then asks the sage to explain the meaning of those four things. The sage explains, "Your father told you, going to work in the shade and coming in the shade means reaching the shop before sunrise and returning home only after sunset. This way, you get the maximum time at the shop, enabling a better understanding of your work. It helps focus your mind on improving and progressing in your work. However, you misunderstood and installed a tent from your house to your shop for shade. You can go in the shade now. Do you understand the true meaning of your father's words?" Hearing this, Seth's son cried loudly and admitted, "Guru, it was my fault. I misunderstood my father's words, and that's why I'm ruined today. I was the biggest fool. My father gave me valuable knowledge, but I treated that diamond as if it were a stone." The son then asked the teacher, "Guru, what is the second thing? What is its meaning?" The guru explains the meaning of the second thing, saying that getting a leather flood is done means keeping a dog or a cat in your house. By having a dog or a cat, your house is protected and your wealth remains secure. This allows you to focus on the shop without worries, understanding the work, and making progress. You won't have the fear of thieves stealing your property. This is the true meaning of getting a leather fence done. You completely misunderstood the meaning of getting a leather covering done. Instead, you filled 2 walls of your house with leather, causing a foul smell to spread. Your neighbors, friends, and relatives left their houses because of the unpleasant odor. People feel embarrassed to visit your house, and now no one comes over due to the situation created by the smell. Due to the foul smell, no one visits, and people start disliking you, contributing to your downfall. Seth's son then asks the guru about the meaning of eating this food sweetened. He wonders if he misunderstood this too. He followed his father's advice to eat sweets every day, and now he faces health issues, gaining weight and contracting various diseases. The sage confirms, "Yes, you misunderstood this as well." The meaning of eating sweets is that when you feel hungry, you should eat promptly, neither before nor after. Otherwise, if you eat when not hungry, you won't appreciate the food. No matter how delicious or wonderful the food is, you won't be able to savor it, respect it, or truly enjoy it. When a person is very hungry, even dry bread in front of him is like a feast. He eats it with love, respects it, and finds that bread sweet. That's why your father said that eating food sweetly improves your health. When a person is hungry and eats at that moment, it is like nectar for him, making the food more enjoyable and beneficial for his health. Conversely, when a person is not hungry and eats at such a time, it is like poison and can cause a lot of harm. Unfortunately, you misinterpreted it and started eating sweets every day. This led to an increase in your weight, and various diseases found a home in your body, bringing you closer to death. Therefore, from today onwards, eating food only when you feel very hungry will be highly beneficial for you. Eating when you're truly hungry will always help in keeping your body healthy. However, eating when you don't feel hungry can be very harmful. And this was your third mistake, leading to the ruin of your entire life. The sage continues, stating that the fourth thing, always keep your wife tied, has a different meaning. Have I misunderstood this as well? To this, the sage responds, yes, son. Keeping your wife tied doesn't mean physically tying her with a rope every day. Instead, it means that during any disagreement or argument between both of you, you should stay connected with your wife. Do not let go of her hand. As long as a woman's husband remains tied in the bond of the relationship, she is committed to her relationship. During disagreements, if you stay connected, she will make every effort to uphold the relationship, and such times can strengthen your bond. If mistakes occur, and you don't let go of that woman's hand, she will not leave you. However, this doesn't imply that you should mistreat your wife. What your father meant is that anyone in a relationship with you should be bound in such a way that even after disagreements, they won't cause harm. They won't harm you or take advantage of you. Always keep your relationships securely tied. Don't leave them open, or they might slip away from your grasp. Many of us repeat the same mistakes, not giving enough time to nurture new relationships, leading to weak bonds and eventual loss. Similarly, you made the mistake of not tending to your relationship properly. How can your wife forgive you when you neglected her? That's likely why she left, and the actions toward your wife may indeed be unforgivable. You should apologize to your wife for your mistakes. Go and express your remorse. Bring her back home. Your father tried to convey these 4 things to you, and although you misunderstood them, there's still time. If you follow these principles correctly, you can rebuild everything in your life once again. What you have lost can be regained through these principles. They offer solutions to all life problems. If success is your goal, work hard. Leave your house before sunrise and return only after sunset to safeguard your wealth. Tie your relationships securely to prevent any harm or loss. By doing so, your relationships won't bother you, hurt you, or take advantage of you. Eat good and healthy food when hungry to live happily. Keep your relationships securely tied, not loose, to prevent them from slipping away. Have a dog or cat in your house to keep your money safe. Following these principles can help you regain everything in your life once again. By following these principles, you can not only recover what you have lost, but potentially progress even further, achieving more prosperity and making your life prosperous and happy. With these words, the sage became calm, and Seth's son understood his mistakes. He saluted the guru, returned home, and implemented all 4 principles in his life. Positive effects started appearing, and he succeeded in rebuilding his business once again. He successfully brought his wife back home, and soon his life became happy again. In conclusion, just as Seth's son learned valuable lessons to turn his life around, we too can gain insights and wisdom. If you're curious about delving into the art of understanding others' thoughts in a natural way, click on the next video. Explore the secrets of connecting with the flow of the present story and unlocking the mysteries of the mind. Don't miss out on the journey to enhance your understanding. Click on the next video and let the exploration begin. Namo Buddhaya.